All right, we got the recording going, so mind your manners. We're 10 minutes early, holy cow. Hey, nice work on that cylinder, Nick. Those updates on the forum look pretty awesome.
Thanks. It's been a fun project. Here's the latest piece of it.
Nice.
If you can make that out.
I can, yeah. You got I can see the remote switch, 2 ESCs, your BLM, and you got 2 power ports on there. Nice.
Yeah, there's sorry, I'm doing this on a phone.
That's all good.
Yeah, been meaning to post an update on the forums. I just haven't had a chance yet. Actually, here's another part I printed out this morning. It's the, I don't know if you can make that out. It's kind of loose.
Yeah, for sure. So is that like an Arduino board that you got going on there under your index finger?
Yeah, I'm holding it down because it's going to fall out. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's the Nano, and then it's plugged into a breakout board.
Yeah.
It's coming along. Total Rube Goldberg cylinder.
Well, it's looking good. It's looking really clean. I like it a lot.
Thanks.
Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, Bob?
I'm doing well, Bob.
Good.
It's raining, cold, shitty, but other than that.
I moved my office, so I've got a nice view now. It's 81 degrees here in Florida today.
Nice.
You suck. How you doing on your? Have you gotten your checkout on your Cicada?
Yeah, I'm all good in terms of that. I actually on, gosh, was it Wednesday, Tuesday? I don't remember now. One of those days I flew Ed Frank's boat from here up to South Carolina and back again.
Ooh, good for you.
Yeah.
What's that, about a 2-hour ride?
It was all in terms of like hobby time on the plane was 7.4 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought
there and back, not.
Oh yeah, you're in Florida. I was thinking of somewhere south of or north of that, but okay. Well, I'm happy for you. You're on a road to discovery. My airplane is down. The exhaust system broke on it. I'm waiting for a new one to arrive, which really sucks.
What kind of plane was that again?
It's a Vans RV6A.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I built it out in my garage, and we've got something like 500 hours on it between me and my 2 partners. Oh, Ed, you're muted.
Oh, that's a dangerous thing to ask me, guys. I won't shut up now. How we all doing?
Really good.
I'm going to cut out 2 minutes early, Bob. Okay?
Yep.
So whoever you got to switch to for those who stay late. But I'll cut out a couple of minutes early so I can set up for the next meeting.
All right, sounds good. I'm going to close my door so I don't smoke out the rest of the house with my big booming voice.
So Bob, how you coming along? Did you get that email I sent you?
I did. I forwarded it on to Max, and he's printing the box for me. Well, I haven't heard back from him. I know he had things to do today. He's working on a RV 7A, and his cowl is in primer, so he was going to go sample today, and he's planning on moving his fuselage over to the paint shop next week or the week after.
Bob, there's going to be a lot of big 688s, 148 scale boats at Cahuta this year. That's the plan. We're gonna fill that pond.
We're
We're
gonna
gonna
have to change it. You have to change it to Subfest 688. It's like all that everybody's bringing.
it's gonna massive boats like that. It's gonna be an impressive,
Gonna be fun.
weekend.
I'll have to get my big Nautilus, my DeBoer Nautilus going. That'll be a good one to have.
Following year, hopefully I'll have mine up and we'll have a whole fleet of these boats.
Who said big Nautilus?
I did.
How big is yours?
How big?
Nautilus.
Nautilus, I'm sorry.
You know, you're so loaded, Frank. You're such a pig.
I'm waiting for Matt to come on. Did I ever show you that laser thing that I did with the sea view?
You showed
Yeah, I know.
me,
Oh,
but
Ed did, yeah. And I made him think that it was real. So I'm trying to talk to him today. Bob, thanks for the electronics.
Dave's here. Hi, Dave. Good to see you, Dave. You're muted, Dave.
You're muted, and I'll remind you, we are being recorded right now.
Yeah. I can read lips. I know what he's telling me. No, I'm not gonna do that. I ain't got the room.
Bob, I bought some of your electronics, and I can't believe how much stuff I could gut out of my submarine because of those electronics.
Yeah. It makes a big difference.
I saved like about 2 pounds of stuff between the 3 servo and everything else.
Yeah.
But it was worth it.
Maury, you're talking, but you're muted.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. A couple of months ago, we had a conversation regarding a Periscope scissor lift.
Yep.
And there's a website that shows this, but they don't respond to inquiries.
There's a website that shows.
There's a website that has that product amongst other RC submarine stuff. But when you make an inquiry, they don't respond. It's like, I think it's a firm out of Poland.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure.
So is there a US source for it?
Not that I'm aware of. That video that we saw was the first time that I had seen it. That was the one that was posted to the subcommittee. And that was, from what I remember, that was like a scratch built deal. From that, I think it was from that guy. I don't think it's a company, Maury. I think that's just a guy who's like a hobbyist and he posts stuff on YouTube.
Okay, so that
But
just
he probably doesn't speak English. I mean, I don't know.
yeah, the website's in English. I mean, it's all in English.
Hmm.
Yeah, so maybe it's just a one-off.
Yeah, I think that's probably more likely the case.
Okay, thank you.
That was cool, though.
It was very cool.
It was a great idea, really good idea.
Very cool. Very simple.
So we're 1 minute out from 3. We can officially get started, but we got to get attendance here already.
So how'd your wife come through surgery, Bob?
Good. Yeah, really good. Everyone's doing really well. We did our stint over there in Miami, got caught up back in the, well, I don't know, caught up, but got some outstanding orders from the shop caught up again. So now we're business as usual.
That backdrop of yours, is that the 48 scale Nautilus?
No, what I mean, who do you think? You think I'm like plowing out RC models left, right, and center? I just came up with that kit a few weeks ago. No, that's this was a 66 Nautilus that I built for a really famous music composer. Some of you guys might even know him. His name's Jimmy Webb. Worked with all of the like big names back in the day before my time. So at any rate, he's a huge Nautilus fan, and I built this one for him. There's a scene coming up in there I'm actually pretty proud of. So I put bow thrusters in this, and it had an OTW dive module. So I submerged to about 4 feet, went stationary, and then kicked the thruster in, and I did a stationary 360-degree turn under the water and resurfaced. It was really cool.
How did you, I saw that video the other day. How you were in place and you just kind of spun the boat, correct?
Yeah, so there's a bow thruster.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick up on that part.
Skill. When
I was going to
that
say,
good.
hear that? Propeller walk to the max.
So what do we got going on here? Let me go back into my so I can update you on what I got
about bow thrusters. Everybody keeps in the sea view. I put a bow thruster, and I kind of like hit it. If you can see the edge of the manta ray fin, that slot.
Yeah.
That's where it shoots out. Because this thing is so long, I'm worried about the turning radius.
So you changed that though, didn't you? Because originally, didn't you have it like coming out of the dive planes or something?
No, I can't. Yeah, these are the dive planes. It comes. The pivot is a 1/2-inch tube.
Oh.
Shoots through that, and it's concealed, so nobody will see it, but it'll help. And the dive planes will still work.
Yeah, for sure. Very slick.
I remember Skip SA had a big argument with somebody online about whether bow thrusters work on a forward motion vehicle.
Probably.
I think, and maybe Dave Merriman can chime in here, but to the best of my knowledge, they work, but virtually negligibly. Like I think when you're moving through the water and you're changing an angle at like 10 degrees per second, it's almost a negligible, to notice. Whereas if you're stationary, it's moving. So
yeah, I think the only way they would work in forward motion if they were aiming kind of at a 45-degree forward angle, so it would kind of push your nose back towards the rear end, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's the spin in the background, by the way.
But that's not what they're intended for. They're intended for when I'm standing still and I want to get away from the dock or something like that. I can push off.
Yep.
There's something to do with the Coanda effect that makes them less effective as the velocity over the hull increases. So yeah, their performance diminishes proportionate with the vehicle speed through water.
Cool.
Am I right about the 45-degree, Dave? If it's 45-degree aiming forward, it'd kind of act like a retro rocket, kind of like slowing it down and pushing the front over, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I got just a couple of updates to let you know what I got going on at the shop. Not a lot because of course I was away, for the last time. A reminder: I've got a mess of boats coming in. They got delayed in terms of the sailing from overseas. It sounds like they'll be here in July, but there's 19 built subs that are going to be coming to the Drydocks. About 3/4 of them are going to be complete with cylinders, and the other quarter will be hulls only. And some of the boats share cylinders, so those will all be coming up shortly. And now I've got 3 more that should be here in about 2 weeks. Those are fully built as well. And that includes an OTW. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll see if I can share out my screen here. Don't share. Whoops, share. Whoops, how come I can't? There we go. Screen 2. This is an OTW upholder, fully built with an OTW dive system. It looks like they did a really, really nice job. Now, I don't have it here. I can't answer questions, so please don't reach out to me. But I will have it, you know, in about 2 weeks or so, and I'll have a chance to go through it and test it and all of that stuff. So there's that one. And then what else do I have here? I've got, well, I haven't finished this one. That's a skipjack. This one, this skipjack is was originally put together by Steve Neal out of California, and it came with one of Big Dave's cylinders. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those, but Big Dave Welch kind of pioneered this RCABS system, the recirculating compressed. No, shaking his head. Okay, well, he commercialized it. But at any rate, this had one of those cylinders in it, and I gutted that. And this is actually going to have a 3.5-inch OTW cylinder that goes with it. So that'll be available if any of you guys are thinking about a skipjack too. And yeah, I've also got an Akula coming in, a shear line Akula with a shear line cylinder. And what was the last one? Oh, do you guys remember that really cool, unique Stjorman, the Swedish submarine with the X-tail in the back? I had a video up on that one. That one's coming back to me too. Super interesting boat. If you're interested in that one, that's coming back. I've got video on my channel if you want to take a look at it.
Bob, do you have those upholder photos posted somewhere?
No, I don't typically advertise stuff until I have it like ready for sale.
Yeah,
So,
because there's some changes on this one that I didn't have on mine.
I don't know how accurate it is. I'm trying to remember. I used to have, I think on my old site, rc-sub.com, I was privileged enough to get into the dry dock when the USS Victoria pulled into Esquimalt in BC, and
I've seen those photos, yes.
I was reached out to by the Canadian military asking me kindly where I got the photos from. So it all turned out good. I spent no time in jail, but I managed to get within like 20 feet of that boat, and I have some pretty awesome reference photos for anyone interested in the.
Yeah, thank you for recalling that.
In the upholder, yeah. I am finishing up for a customer an OTW, and Dave, you might even remember this. This is a very storied boat. I think you might have built it for somebody, but then like Eric Kloss ended up with it, an OTW Vanguard. And then he reached out to, I think, Matt to upgrade it with a new propulsor in the back. And then Matt couldn't do it, so he sent it to me. And I finished that up and then sent it back to him. And then he got rid of it and came back to me. And now I'm reselling it to another person. So I just finished going through the cylinder. That's all done. And fixed a bunch of stuff that broke on it. So there'll be a video on that coming up right away. It'll be a very, very well-traveled boat by the time it finally ends up with this last guy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
All right, you ready for the short version of what that was about?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Bob Demick, who, by the way, is one hell of a nice guy, a hell of a craftsman. What he did is he secured from the UK research establishment. I think it was Barrow and Furnace, later becoming Vickers. They had developed tow tank models at 1/100 scale. And somehow Bob secured the 1/100th model and turned that into a kit. And I was commissioned by Eric Ploss to assemble it and get it operational. And that turned into an odyssey of completely changing all the appendages, in essence, scratch building everything but the hull. And that's what you've got. That propulsor, God damn it, works just fine as is. Don't mess with it.
I'm not changing anything. It's on there.
All right. Enough said.
Okay, good. Anyhow, yes, well-traveled boat, as many of these boats tend to be, by the way. I'm also finishing up the prototype model for the Bori, the 3D files. If any of you guys are interested in the Russian boats, that Bori is a really, really cool looking submarine. Like, you know, say what you will about its design or the story behind it or whatever, it looks really cool. Randy up in Canada did 3D files for that, just like he did for the Typhoon files. Prototype's going to be done, and I'm actually finishing this up with a cylinder, with that aforementioned Big Dave cylinder. So that'll be a fully operational boat coming up here in the near future as well. What else do I got going on? Let's just say, oh, here we go. There's the other boats. I can share these out. This was just a cool boat. I thought it was really unique. I'd never seen one before, and I don't think there's a kit out there of it. Again, if you're interested in more detail, I did a full video write up on it. That was I think I'm pronouncing it Submarine. And then the other one is this Akula. Here we go. Shearline Akula. I'm losing signal on my keyboard. There we go. All right. Enough of that. Yeah, that's everything I got going on. I put a couple of videos out. If any of you haven't seen them on my YouTube channel, I did one on making the little bent control yokes. I sell nylon versions on the site, but there's the soldered version if you want to take a look at that one. And then I also did one on milling out the flood slots on a big fiberglass hull, making that easy for you too. So you can check that out. All right, that's enough of me. I can turn it over to you guys.
Hey, Bob, on that, when you were drilling out those vents, if you extended the drill bit just a little bit further, you might not gaff your template if you got onto the shank.
Yes. So what ended up happening with that, so my thinking on this was, okay, this is the technique, and I'm going to hand it off to Jason in my shop. And if he can do it, you guys can do it, because he's a relative newbie. And it's all about, letting the template guide your bit, not pushing into it and using it as a stop. So that was the idea behind it. You're absolutely right. If you were to get smart about it, you would adjust the depth of that bit to the point where the smooth part was rubbing against the.
You could also slip a piece of brass over the drill bit to act like a pilot bushing.
Oh, so there you go.
All right, listen, just cut through all this, and instead of using a 3-flute drill bit, use a proper end mill.
In a rotary tool or in your milling machine?
In a screwdriver, in a milling machine. The shanks are typically 1/8 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch. You can get end mills in any shank diameter. Just Harbor Freight's your friend.
Yep.
And they're designed to take the load from the side. Your drill bits are not.
They work just fine. They smoke a little bit.
The brass tube works good.
That's a great idea, Frank, as a bushing. I wonder how long they would last for. I suppose if you put a little lubricating oil on there, it might help.
It's
It
an
does-
arbor.
Half the
It's an
time it
arbor.
doesn't turn.
See Ray for coupons for Harbor Freight. Ray's got lots of coupons. Harbor Freight's his friend.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of me. Who else has something going on? Not a one of you here.
I do. It's Ernie.
Hey,
I have a-
Aaron.
I have a question. I just got my model from Scale Shipyards and the stern planes don't have any way to be connected. So I figured I was going to put a couple of studs in there with nuts on them. And then that way I could connect them to the sides of the hull and build the sides of the hull and the back up with some fiberglass. I mean, it's just, this is the way they came from Scale Shipyards.
Right, so that's the like the stabilizer. That's not actually the control surface.
Right.
That's the Dave probably knows the proper terminology for it. I don't
Stern
know.
plane. It's just, yeah, with stabilized. But I figured that was, anybody else got a better suggestion other than putting two studs in there with nuts on them to connect them to the sides? And
Yeah, I do. If you stop talking.
sorry, God.
All right, what you do is you slit that thing with a cutoff wheel, and you want to slit on the inside. So you make a trench, make it about 1/4 inch deep. And then on the other piece, which will be the standing piece on the tail cone, I take it, you do the same. You get them pretty close, you know, oversize is good. And then what you do is he takes a sheet of G10 fiberglass sheet of appropriate thickness, and you cut out a biscuit or a disc, and you glue that into one of the two pieces. And then you just slide that in and you glue that in, and it'll become indestructible.
Oh, okay. That's better than tapping and drilling.
Damn right.
So here's another option that I've done in the past that works good. So there's two challenges with installing the part that you're talking about. One is getting it stuck to the hull permanently where it ain't gonna bust off on you. And two is getting your alignment proper so that they don't sit like this or like this or like this, right, on the hull.
Correct.
What I've done in the past, which worked pretty well, is I've used like a 1/8 inch brass rod. I've drilled that into the one side and the other side. I've run that all the way through the hull and then secured it on so that the two pieces are perfectly aligned. Then and you can use Dave's trick there about the slots and the gluing, and you've got the extra, adhesion surfaces, surface area. But that maintains your alignment. So you've got a rod that goes from one of those stabilizers all the way through the hull to the other side, then glue it in, and then you can go in just with a pair of side cutters and snip the rod, and you got the inside all free and open to run your linkages and your drive shafts and all of that stuff through. So that was one of the challenges I always had. I did it once and I learned, glued it on permanently. Ain't no way it's gonna move. And then I looked at it, I'm like, oh crap, it was out by like 1/8 of an inch. So
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, what we used to do is make the slot. You can glue the tab in with a bunch of holes so that the glue permeates the tongue. And then the other side that's going to mount it, you make it like if it's an 1/8 inch slot, we'll just say tongue, you make the slot 1/4 of an inch. Now you shove some Bondo in there and push the thing in. And as you align it, the Bondo will squirm around and it'll be an exact fit wherever you leave it. And you got 5-10 minutes to play with it, or even epoxy. But if you make it bigger, it gives you room to play around, tape it to where you want it, shore it up however you want it. And then when it dries, it's there.
Okay.
Just to get this out of the road for you, the Hunley that I started is basically finished. I don't have a very good view of it there, but with David's help and Bob's and a few others on the blog, we got this baby in the water. I got it set up so that it looks actual. I think I could probably sink it all the way to the bottom of the pool, but of course the real one, you know, when it got down that far, it didn't come back up too well. So I got it right at the level of where the two snorkels are, and I can't really do a lot of turning in the pool. The rudder is just not there. It will do a little bit of the turn, but if I had more distance, I think I could get some more out of it. The forward dive planes, I need to get back in on my linkage a little bit and maybe get a little more on that, and then maybe full length of the pool, I could really kind of get the full effect of the dive situation on it. But it's basically done at this point, and I went with the rustic colors. I do need to go back in now and kind of touch it up around areas where I think rust would maybe build up a little more. Other than that, it's done, and I appreciate all the help I got on it. And, you know, I appreciate that sub driver I got from David quite a while back. We had to adapt a few things to get it to line up and everything, but we got it to work, and with their help and going with that snorkel type dive system, which is so simple, I couldn't believe I've gone all this way and not had all my boats in the water like that, but I haven't. I'm learning, but it turned out well, and I'm very pleased with it. The print came out really well. So anybody looking to build this on a printer, I would certainly give it 100% because the fittings and everything were just perfect on it. So that's my little story on the Hunley, and now we can move on to the Nautilus.
There you go. Yeah, that turned out really well. And for, you know, for anyone, the cool thing about the 3D files, and Dave, plug your ears because you don't want to hear this, but you know, if you got those files, for example, and you have no intention of, you know, operating the Hunley as an RC model, but you just want a really cool display model, you just scale it down. You know, make a little 18-inch Hunley. It would be beautiful. You know, something like that big as a display model, and that goes for any of the boats. My very first one that I did that took me forever, the Astute. You know, I built it in 96 scale, but you know, Dwayne Hill wanted a bigger version. He wanted a 48th scale version, so you just hit scale. Up it goes, and the next thing you know, you got like a 6-foot-long Astute model. So it's the interesting and cool thing about the technology.
Bob, one more thing. All my subs that I have gotten from you are all up to the ceiling. They're the scale that you set them up for.
I see that.
Hunley will be going right straight across over the top of the of this one that's on top of the cabinet. So I made room for it. I'm about out of room now, so I've got to figure out another way to, so I can get some more subs going in
Hang them
here.
from the ceiling with fishing line.
There you go. That's a thought. I don't know what the rest of you guys do with all yours. Most of you guys have got bigger shops and everything, so this is my office and shop and everything. So
Do like Steve does, hang them vertically.
Oh my gosh.
really, okay, that's an idea.
Like fish.
like Steve's fish. That Columbia that eat bore for breakfast.
Yeah.
Bob, speaking of 3D printed parts, I just sent you an email a little while ago. I started your small Nautilus.
Yep.
And I noticed in the video you printed a couple of custom 3D parts for the construction. Is it possible to get drawings or STL files? I've got my own printer. I'll print them.
You know, in the past I haven't, and actually I would prefer to do that because, to be brutally honest, I'm so busy right now. It's a pain in the ass to, you know, queue up something like that. So typically when I sell a starter kit, you know, it's everything, and I'll include that, you know, for people. But I actually need to go through and just take a look at my library of STL files and see what I can put up for people to download. So the short answer is yes, and I did get your email. So I'm going to queue that up. I'll find those files and I'll make a product and I'll put it on my site and you can grab them.
Thanks.
Yep, absolutely.
Hey, Ed has a really nice set of drawings for some sort of big drawing for the 688, and he got them from Scale Shipyards, and I've reached out to him and he's not replied. Does anybody know where I can purchase that drawing, like the type that Ed has?
That's a scale, that's at the Greg Sharp drawings.
Oh,
Lee was supposedly licensed to sell them, and he sent me a set. He responded to me immediately. I think somebody here on the forum just purchased a hull from him. I mean, is Lee still alive? Is he responding?
It took me, I got my skipjack from him. I ordered it in June and got it yesterday.
That's Lee. Okay.
Yeah. I
So
wouldn't hold out
anyway-
getting any answer from him.
Do you have a phone number for him?
Let's see. I just Scale Shipyard. Hang on.
so I got a question. Okay, there's Dave. So let's just out of curiosity, let's quickly inventory the suppliers to the market right now. We got OTW, right, out of the UK. There's Vladimir out of Russia, who has a very limited supply of boats. You got Lee Upshaw.
There's an obscure place called Nautilus Drydocks. That's a source.
there's one as well. In terms of Engel out of Germany. Okay, so we got them. In terms of kind of bigger players, who am I forgetting? There's got to be a few more.
X.
Orbitgen.
What's that? Oh, hey, Bex. There you go.
Bex.
Waving in the corner. I'm here, guys. Don't forget about me. Yeah, so we got Bex out of the UK. So I just wanted to kind of bring this to light as like a current state of the hobby kind of situation. When you take a look at Lee and Bob Dimack and Engel, all of those are headed up by individuals who are, let's be politically correct, blessed with many years. So I think the challenge with our hobby is these are major suppliers to the RC submarine hobby, and it's conceivable within 5 years, whatever, they may not be around anymore. So it's an interesting state of affairs that we're in right now. With Engel, if I understand things correctly, and some of you know more about this maybe than I do, I think Gregor has kind of like stepped back and his kids stepped in, but they really don't care much about the subs. They're more about the planes. So, that's a big blow, because I think Engel is one of, if not the biggest, European supplier of parts and kits and components, and to be honest, back in the day, they did such a good job of putting together comprehensive kits and beautiful instructions, and they were responsive. That responsive part's gone away.
You got William out of China.
Well, this is true. Yeah, we've got options out of China. But I just wanted to bring that up, just as kind of a reset in terms of what the future of the hobby looks like. There's some of the suppliers that we may be counting on to give us parts and components and kits could potentially be going away. So it's just something to keep in mind in the back of our heads as we move forward.
Isn't there a vendor still selling a Sequest or?
Well, yeah, that would be me, Sequest.
Oh, I'm sorry, I meant Seaview.
Seaview, DeBoer.
Yeah, DeBoer.
Yeah.
They're still around, right? Sort of. Okay. I'm new to this thing. I'm just.
Yeah. You know, it's the thing about this hobby you have to understand, and I've gone into this, you know, many times in some of the videos and stuff. This is what you might call the definition of a niche. I'm saying this like a proper Canadian, not niche. It's a niche hobby. This is like a corner of a corner of a corner of an industry. And so, you know, the vast majority of vendors who are catering to it are, you know, like garage kit manufacturers, like literally working out of their houses, out of their garages, out of their boats. I don't know, you know. So, you know, we're not talking about, you know, 10,000 square foot facilities with 50 employees cranking out products, you know, by the thousands. This is literally, you want one, okay, I'll build you one. So it's just a fact of life of where we're at right now. And I've gone into this before. I don't necessarily even know if I want to change that, but you know, this group here, as the name implies, we are the elite of this RC model, you know, community. There's not a lot of people who can brag that they've built, you know, fully functional remote controlled submarines. So you know, we just need to live with that fact of life, that the people who are catering to it are few and far between, and manufacturing things to order.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I just met a gentleman day before yesterday who never heard of RC submarines, and he loves RC, you know, stuff. And so I'm gonna probably meet up with him by the river and run some subs just to get him introduced to it. He's like a big fan. So we do a horrible job, I guess, of advertising, you know, our passion. So
you're absolutely right, Tom. You know, there so many people that I talk to have no idea that RC subs are a thing. You know, they didn't know they existed. They had no idea. When I tell people what I do for a living, they're like flabbergasted. They have no idea that this is something that was even around. So
Most of them, they're underwater and you can't see them.
Well, yeah.
You know, Tom, you make the valid point, and we really have nobody to point the finger at other than ourselves.
Yep.
Okay. 20, 30 years ago, it was a different world. But today, each one of us carries one of these things. Okay. Takes 5 minutes to make a simple video, and everybody who has a Gmail account can post that thing. Okay. You can do it right from the phone. And there's nothing says it more when you flood it. When you flood whatever, YouTube, whatever, with these videos, Facebook, Instagram, you flood it. It's going to get out there, but it has to start with us.
I've been trying.
We've had this conversation before, and I think, you know, one of the biggest, if not the biggest issue, is cost.
Yeah.
When you start talking to people about, they think it's, of course, very cool. And then they say, well, how much did your upholder cost?
I hear that. Okay. But I also wonder the cost of the helicopter, the jet.
Candidly, before any work, before the hundreds of hours, it's this. And they go, wow, that's out of my league.
Let me ask you a question. Steve Hodges, you fly, correct? Are you still here, Steve? No, or did you sign off? I hear that about price, but what about the helicopter and those big RC jets?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, even a drone can cost $1,500. So I kind of don't really believe the money thing. I don't.
They're darn expensive. The helicopters, especially.
Yeah, and I tell you what, either you want to fly or you want to dive.
I want to do it all.
I can interject something here. I did belong to a 250 member flying club here in Arizona. And recently, when I first started with the submarines, because I started losing sight and everything because of the cancer deal. But so I got into this, but I took the Astute out because a lot of guys were interested in doing 3D printable airplanes. So I took that sub out, and with my antiquated sub driver that I had kind of built for it, so it'd at least go across the water, they basically just kind of laughed at me when they saw it. They says, you know, boats, are you kidding me? Look at these airplanes out there. And I said, okay, I agree. These big, you know, the jets, the helicopters was mentioned here, the quadcopters, the turbine jets that Steve flies. Sure, they're up there into the 2,000 up to 5. Club members have got them. They're $5,000 and $10,000 machines. And I said, you know, these subs, they'll set you back. And their main concern was, well, what do you do with them when you got them built if you don't have a swimming pool or a lake to put them in? So that seems to be the thing that drives them away from it. They just don't have a club that they can belong to in the area, similar to what Tom is doing. You know, he goes to the lake and, you know, that's a great place. You know, if you could set up a bunch of members that could maybe get involved, and then they meet there once in a while, or another lake in your area. But it seems to be that was the main issue they had was, well, what do we do with them when they're built? You just put them on the wall, or if you got a swimming pool like I have, and I just love the heck out of it, I can put them in there and get all the enjoyment I need. But that seems to be the issue I run into. And but it's still like what Sub said, Sub Ed, you know, you got to get it out there. And if you get the opportunity, grab one of your subs and take it to someplace where people can see them. And then, you know, give out some of the websites like Bob's and everything, and some of the blogs we got. And maybe that would start getting people involved a little more. But that's what I found with the flying community that I belong to. They just didn't show that much interest, and that was about it.
Yeah, but
Everybody has their own interests. I've got interests in helicopters and jets and all kinds of stuff, but subs are really cool as well. I was at a lake running a 172 Fletcher class destroyer, and people walking the lake were like, oh, that's really cool. But Nathan was running the Thunder Tiger Neptune, and he was submerged. And as they were walking by, they saw it under the water. And they were like, is that a submarine? And we go, yeah. And the guy was going, well, no offense, that boat's pretty cool, but that sub is even cooler.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the key, isn't it? Cost isn't, I don't think, as huge as it matter as much as some of those all-in-one kind of kits. The Akula 2, that the smaller one that Engel was, you know, selling, they were in California, 3 guys had that kit already, you know, and that's about $1,100, $1,200. But you know, the Neptune, it was beautiful. It was all in one. It worked great. It was fun. I think something like that is what's missing, you know.
And you know, we've talked about this before, and you know, as a vendor, this is something that I would love to do. This is just lack of time and resources. But you know, I think a sub $1,000 is the you know, the cherry point. If you can have a complete kit for $999 in a box, everything that you need, you know, almost ready to go, you know, put a couple hours into it, and you assemble everything. Now we're going to start to see a lot more people getting into it. You know, that argument about lack of place to go, I don't know if I buy it. That's just an excuse to me. Try and find an RC aircraft airfield. You know, wherever you live.
I live
it's
on
way harder to find one of those than it is to find a pond. Trust me. Like, I think it's way harder to find an airfield where you can fly those things around. So that's just them making an excuse. I honestly think our prime demographic is these people who are in the RC boat world, and you know, they've been doing the same thing for 25 years. But man, this is like the next level. Like I've built destroyers, I built carriers, you know, cruisers, whatever, and they got functional masts. But now all of a sudden, this is well, you think that's cool. Like, try this. I challenge you, you know.
Well, I tell you what, as somebody who started with PT boats and thought that that was the zenith, going to submarines was like going to Mars. And as Bob has always said, you don't have a true appreciation for what it takes to run and build a submarine until you have built one yourself. You know, these ready to fly airplanes, you know, that has been probably a negative thing. You have to have an understanding of what's going on. And younger folks today, it's a millennial thing. They just don't want to invest the time.
Listen, if we're going to evangelize, and I agree we should, I agree the target audience will be the guys who are halfway there, and it means the guys who operate ships and boats. The trouble is, there are several forums out there, and I don't see maybe one of you guys, other than myself, there carrying the cross and just laying it on these people about this activity. You're not doing it. You're sitting in your friggin' basements trying to figure out how to work out a linkage. Well, you want to grow the base, but you got to get out there, get into the forums, be an asshole, tell them about this stuff. And
David, I did exactly that because the Arizona Model Aviators has a group similar to what we have here. And so I put a couple of my blogs out there just to show what was involved a little bit. I didn't get any response, nothing. And, you know, they just sit there and nobody comes in and say, boy, that looks neat and all that. So I kind of gave up on that end. But
you don't give up. You become that turd in the punch bowl. Become that guy. All right, just get in there and swing. Keep swinging.
Well, you know, I think if I got some of your information out there and your, I'm going to put it this way, in your statements, these people would maybe get a better, you know, maybe I'm too gentle. I need to go your route and shake them up a little.
Be Lucille the baseball bat. That's what you got to do. That's how you get their attention.
We joined a local club on Long Island. Ray and I and some other people joined a local tug club, the Empire State Model Mariners, and they welcomed us with open arms. And there's been a lot of back and forth, and everything's compliment. Do we have any converts? We have a few, and I'm also the opinion I won't go fly a quarter scale SR-71 because it's not my thing. I'm also realizing that maybe, just maybe, it's okay to be a little different, that this isn't going to be for everybody. And maybe we got to accept that, you know, that we won't be, doesn't mean we stop trying, but it's okay. You know, you can't force them to drink the water they're not going to drink, but we should at least show them the path and let them come to us.
I'd like to interject. I'm new here. Everybody, I'm Rob. Pleasure to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you, Rob. I was going to ask about you. I love the whole snake iPhone thing.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what it says. I'm not real good with this, but I'm waiting on my kit from you or from the Chinamen overseas that the ARC model is coming.
Yep.
So I'm sitting here waiting with all the stuff to go and what have you. But I if you see what's in the background right behind me, I'm a tractor puller. So you want to talk about a sport or a hobby that is not well known? This guy knows about it. But I'm also a history guy. What led me to you and your site was my love of history. And I do Civil War reenactments as Thomas Jackson. But I've been all over.
You want to come to the Iowa State Fair?
Yeah.
You bring that rig, you'll have a ball.
Well, right now, what also got me in is I was bored as heck, and I just heard a motor 2 weeks ago. And I said, I got to take a break, man. You talk about a money pit. That thing behind me is a freaking money pit. and the thing is, you know, that's all built from scratch. So, and I've got some RC airboats that are hand built by me that are sitting over here, nitro powered. The love of people using their hands. I think Bob's talked about it a couple times on his live stuff that I've gone down the rabbit hole, is the people using their fingers and using the squash on top of your shoulders that the dear Lord put on your head. Guys don't want to do that. They want to buy it out of the box. They want to, you know, they don't want to learn how to get that thing down the track and apply horsepower that's 2,050 pounds with you in it with 700 horse. I mean, you know, it's no different. You got to use this right here in your chest, your heart, and these, and figure it out, you know. So the history aspect is what got me into it and what I did.
It's too much work.
No, hell no, it's not. It's a lot of fun.
Well, it's a ball.
Your noodle is too much work. Yes, I agree with that.
I'll argue it's too much work. I think you make a good point, though, and I think more than anything, Dave Merriman uses the term crawl, walk, run. And if there's a sub out there that could be a crawl for people, then they can get into the fully building and using their hands. Because you know what? We don't have shop anymore. We don't have things to use our hands. And so people are afraid to, they just don't know. But if you have a baby step, that'll get them hooked. That's just my.
I don't want to use the term because maybe it's not politically correct, but what we need is a gateway drug. We need something that people can buy that will say, you know, this is cool. And I got my feet wet with it, but man, I can see the next step, the next stage, you know, 2 steps ahead of where it is. But I can do this because it's not intimidating. It's, you know, this is an intimidating hobby. There's a lot that you need to know. You know, when I tell somebody, oh, just solder this to that, you know, that little statement there, solder this to that, you know, I need to know what to buy. I need to know how to cut it. I need to know to put it together. I need to know how to solder. I need to know what equipment I have. You know, there's a lot that goes behind that statement. So we need this gateway drug to get people hooked. And then they take the next step, and then they take the next step. So that's
what we used to have in the UK was something called a deep dive. It was a vacuum form kit to get you into the hobby. Deep as chips. And it was the same. As soon as you brought that, you're like, oh, I want something better. Then that just goes forward and down, you know. But
didn't Mark Model Bits do that?
No, it was another company, and then it got brought by Slipway, and then he charged about 7 times as much what it originally cost and killed it.
I've got a vacuum former coming.
Go ahead, please.
I was just saying, Tim, I could get hold of a vacuum former if we can think of a cheap submarine to make. Think of something.
The hull is not the expensive part. The hull is not the expensive part. The expensive part is the guts that go into it. Yeah. You know, we can knock a hull out for $150. If we put our mind to it, that is not an issue. The issue is having a bulletproof cylinder that you can drop into that unit that will allow you to explore the idea of a remote controlled submarine without having to spend $1,000 to outfit it.
So why don't we do a dynamic dive?
Even if it is dynamic dive, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if we could have a $250 cylinder that just goes forward, back, and has some outputs for dive planes and rudders.
I mean, that'd be simple. I mean,
but that was the beauty of the deep dive. It came with a vacuum sealed box with a lid. You put in the car ESC and a car buggy motor, and so it cost you peanuts, but it gave you that interest, if that makes sense.
Well, David, didn't you sell a fairly simplistic model a few years ago?
Dave's not here, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, there were attempts. I mean, Skip Acey's line of kits, you know, the Marlin and the Albacore, and we've talked about it before, you know, the Thunder Tiger Neptune, you know, those were all, you know, the preliminary gateway drugs, and they just don't exist today, unfortunately, anymore. You know, what would be really cool, and we should, I'm being serious about this, we need to get the right people in the right shop for 3 days. I'm sure if we had 3 days in the right shop with the right people, we could knock out a design for a hull and a cylinder, and we could get this thing in place.
Yeah.
I still think that the number one thing that slowed me up a bit is finding a place to run a sub. And the other thing we need to do is, I know there's one thing that got me interested again is there are 3 or 4 get-togethers this summer, and it took me I had to search really hard to find them. And in fact, even in Bob's own forum, they're not listed under his events.
Hey, Steve, I got a couple of questions for you on what you just said. What region of the country are you at? Where are you at?
Colorado.
Colorado, and there are 0 bodies of water within an hour's driving distance of you?
Depends on what you consider a body of water. There are body of waters around. The question is, are you allowed to access them or not?
Okay, so you're saying it's more a legal issue of getting into the body of water. And it's not that whether it's polluted or salt water or, it's you don't have an actual body of water that you can legally access.
Litigation.
Well, I live in Colorado Springs, and they have a law or local ordinance here that you cannot run RC anything in a local park.
That's because litigation lawyers throughout this country, if you want to fly or operate, have scared property owners to the point of it's become much more convenient to say no than yes.
Yeah, so.
You also can go to the Y and use that too. I use the Y at Rock Hill all the time.
There are no local RC clubs that run boats anywhere, Steve, by you?
No, nowhere
Steve,
near me.
Wow. And I thought New York
There's
City.
several names I could give you there in Denver.
Yeah, I'm about to say,
I
I've
wish I
looked
was
up
still
in
in Colorado
Denver and
Springs.
Boulder and everything else. I haven't found anybody.
Well, Tim Senecal is one. Tom Spettle is another person who does RC subs. So I can get you hooked up.
That would be wonderful. I'd be very appreciative of that.
And honestly, we need to do a better job because, as small as this hobby is, it's still pretty fragmented. So I think it would be a really good idea to try and reach out and centralize all of these, events that may or may not be going on. And that can be regionally, nationally, internationally, whatever that looks like. I think it would be a great idea. I think even, speaking internationally, even if there was something going on and you didn't have a boat, I would go just to be there, just to see what they're doing and to experience the culture over there. So it's, everybody fights for their little piece of the pie, but I think, to leverage a community and pull all of the information together in one centralized location. That's the goal. And we got the right people on this call right now. Ed and Tom and myself and all of the other people who contributed to pulling information together. I think that's like a centralized mandate of the subcommittee that should really be, a mission statement, to create a centralized repository for submarine related information and events. So it's what we just need to do.
Well, I'm willing to drive down to Georgia or out to Indiana this summer and wherever else I can find a meet.
It would be well worth it. The Kahata last year, I think we had more people from like further than 5 hours away than we did from locally. That was pretty awesome.
Well, I'm retiring in about 4 months, so I'm looking for something to fill up my day.
Perfect.
I hate Steve, I sent you a chat. So if you open up the chat, I sent you my email. And
Well, I remember Tom invited me at one time to try to make it over to the river with him, and I'm
Yep.
unable to travel at this point. So, but he's out there trying. He's really promoting this hobby, and I appreciate that invite, Tom. I really did. But there's just no.
well, that invite's always open for you.
And I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Well, I think the best thing we can all do, from what I'm hearing, is just get out there and promote it. I'll do everything I can to get my so-called flying buddies involved. They're the only ones I really know of. And there's one boat club that's not too active, but it seemed to be similar to the one that Sub Ed belongs to. He's got a group of people that meet, and I'll see if I can't maybe get involved with them a little bit, and maybe even have them come over and see my subs, and maybe we can get something going there.
I would encourage anybody, if you are local and you see an opportunity, you know, for a local boat club where there could possibly be a handful of converts. If you want to reach out to me, you know, not only as a vendor, but, you know, as president of the subcommittee, I would love to examine the idea or possibility of coming out and talking to them. You know, this is an opportune time for me because I'm training for my pilot's rating, and I need an opportunity to fly anyway. So I've got a pretty big radius of possible places that I can go to, and if the opportunity exists that you know, it would potentially help the hobby, I would completely be open to coming out and, you know, bringing a boat and you know, talking for an hour about the hobby, what it is involved, you know, what they need to look at investing in terms of time, talent, commitment, and resources. You know, let me know. We'll see what we can do.
Is there some kind of
Come out to-
register?
I got a gram of whiskey for you.
You have a what? Sorry.
A dram. I got some drinks of whiskey for you.
Okay,
You know?
all right. That's good. I'm empty.
Is there some kind of register with everybody's email on there, like a phone book type thing, where, you know, if like I wanted to talk to Steve or you know, someone else in this group?
So we talked about this before, and this is something that I need to make some changes. So legally speaking, all of you, like you guys have all registered, and I've got your information, right? It's mine. I own it. But I can't legally give it to anybody without your explicit permission. So what would need to happen is I would need to somehow create a you know, a registry for people who are willing to publicly, you know, put their information out for other people. So that possibility definitely exists. I just need to implement the engine by which we can organize that and then make it public. So we've already got a portal, you know, with the DiveTribe. So anybody who's a member, it's behind a, you know, a wall, so we don't have, you know, spam bots and spammers collecting all of this information. You'd have to register in order to get in and pay the fee, which I don't think the spammers would do. But once you're in, you would have access to the directory, and then you'd be able to reach out.
Like a contact list.
Well, exactly. You know, and it would be names of people who basically said, yes, it's okay for other people to get a hold of me. And then I think we'd be in a much better place because we talked about this before, and I think Ed may have jumped off here already. I got to jump on a call with him in 1 minute. This idea of mentorship, you know, so you get new people in the hobby. It's really, really intimidating. But if you can reach out to somebody locally who is like, absolutely, you know, let's have a chat on Tuesday night, or let's get together on Saturday morning, you know, or whatever, I think that would be an awesome resource for us to potentially implement.
Okay, Bob, I got a question. So if I were to take the Nautilus Drydock blog or our forum that we're all belong to, can I copy and paste that into like my flying clubs? If I had to get on there, and could I use that legally?
All of the information on the forums is public.
Okay.
Right? The only thing that people can see is a username and what people put up publicly. Anything that's publicly up there is fine, but you can't go in, click on like the profile of somebody and copy and paste their information and give it to somebody else. But if you want to, you know, copy a URL for a thread, or, you know, copy and paste some information, like a cool build or something like that, yeah, by all means, do it for sure.
Well, so if I were wanting to get a hold of like David's great, you know, work done today and posted it in that, it would be legally, it would be okay, and I don't need.
The forums are 100% public, and you don't need to register. Anybody can come in and they can look at all of it.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Hey, Bob.
Yo.
Hey, so one good model yacht club that I was fortunate enough to grow up being a part of was the San Francisco Model Yacht Club. Historically we had a lot of we had a submarine group there too that would they would operate in Spreckles Lake, but they would also operate, I think it was the reflecting pools in Golden Gate Park. That would be one like old historical model yacht club, is well established, has a lot of members that you could probably find a lot of people that'd be interested in submarines, since they already have a submarine, people that are into submarines there. Unfortunately, I don't live near there anymore, but
Okay.
I've personally organized and thrown regattas there for model steamboats, and there's, to this day, they're still doing the San Francisco steam up.
Okay. I was hoping for somebody like 20 minutes away, but San Francisco, you know, I can.
Yeah, it's probably.
It's like a
3 days of
flight,
flying.
you know. Well, we'll figure something out for sure.
But you said
actually,
you needed 4 hours.
the cool thing is, actually, we still got an office up in Victoria, British Columbia. So at least that's on the right coast. You know, potentially we can try and tie this all together. So, all right, guys, what I'm going to do, I am going to leave. You guys are, as always, are more than welcome to continue this on. I'm going to hand the ownership off to Dave. Do you want it? Are you okay just being the guy for a minute? Because I got to hop on a call with Tom and Ed here for business stuff. But as always, thanks for your patronage and your enthusiasm, which is really showing up on here. It's pretty awesome. So I'm going to take off. Thank you, and have a great weekend, everyone.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks.
Take care, Bob.
All right.
Hey, Matt.
Take
You
care,
still-
gentlemen.
Hello, Frank.
Take care, Bob.
All right.
Oh. I got your email, Frank. You're nuts.
You know it's fake.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yep.
Mustang Bob, I have plans for you for the 688.
Huh?
You hear
Talk to
me?
y'all later.
Did I?
Mustang Bob, did you hear
Yeah.
me? I have plans for you. The 688 is the Los Angeles class submarine, right?
Right.
Okay. I need your email address. You get a digital plan, then 3 sheets. You can change the scale if you want, if you manage.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Send you a chat message.
A text or in the chat.
Yeah, you give me your email address, I will send it right away out. It is in what scale? I don't know.
94.
Mm.
Hang on, I'm doing it right now.
You have to go to the copy shop then, or I don't know. It is a PDF file.
It is a PDF?
Yes.
That's
3 sheets.
good.
3 files.
Did you get it?
1 second, so yes, give me 1 minute. Email.
That's
Cantu's-
awesome.
Cantu's always been a great source of info. He's helped me more than once.
He sent me a load of stuff as well. Good lad.
Thank you, sirs. All of you.
Welcome, always. So,
Yeah. There he is. Maurice.
You're muted, Maury.
Matthew, you showed that to me last time, Matthew.
Yeah.
I
But
need
not
to
with
have it in my hands,
Not with
not
everything in it.
your hands.
He's
I like
taunting you.
That's it. I like teasing, you see.
My
So
hand,
I'm taunting
not
you. It's
your
great.
hand.
Yeah. So hopefully we're getting that out. But with the Vanguard, fingers crossed.
You got the heat back on again or not?
Well, we've had a power cut all day. So this is the first time I've been back in the workshop and the heating's been off and it's a bit chilly.
Yeah.
Yeah. National Power Grid thought it'd be a really good idea to cut the power off at about, was it 11 o'clock this morning? It only went back on at 6.
So when are you having tea with the Queen?
Really?
Yeah, to go over the current issues.
I don't think we need to bring up that woman, do we?
Hey, you want your Royals back? We're done with them.
Yeah, so you can keep that one and all.
Yeah.
Bob,
No.
Bob, do you want Scale Shipyard's phone number?
Yeah, just a second. Hang on. Let me. All right, give it up.
Area code 562.
Okay.
428.
Okay.
5027.
Okay. Thank you
That's
very
California.
much. Oh, okay. Well, that explains why he's so hard to get a hold of.
Well, apparently he lost his shop and he had to put a bunch of stuff and he's storing it in the Iowa, and he would never shut up about storing stuff in the Iowa battleship. So I don't know what's going on with him anymore.
Lee's got a full plate right now. Yeah, be patient.
Okay. I got the plans, Gantu.
Good.
Thank you very much. That's awesome.
Cantu for
You're
the
welcome,
steak.
sir. Always.
Good.
So all I got to do is just put these on a drive. And what size paper would this print out on?
I don't know, but what scale you use for your building?
Oh, I'm using 1/48, but I was just wondering what they originally came in. I can scale it from there. I'll just print it as big as I can.
Let me see if I can maybe change the scale of the plan.
Oh, I can do it on my end.
Yeah,
Don't worry
yeah.
about it. I just got-
Your printing outfit's gonna make that determination. You just
Yeah.
bring your thumb drive over there and say, I want it so long. Give them one critical dimension, give
Right.
them length overall, and say, do your magic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I do.
Great. Okay, will do. That's awesome. Man, that's really cool. Thank you.
Matt, did you get my email with those latches that you showed?
No.
Yeah, I bought those latches, those cabinet latches.
Oh yeah.
They work great. They really
Good.
do.
Aren't they
Good.
cool? Aren't
Yep.
they cool?
They capture the thing so it doesn't move, and it worked out really good.
All right, that's good. As I said, I use them for everything. I don't bother putting screws on because I just do one forward, one after, clip, done. Don't have to worry about it.
Yep.
And you can tighten them up as well because you've got 2 screws over side the ball bearing. So in theory, you can tighten them up if you want them to be tight. Yeah, and they're made of brass or they're coated in something that's similar to brass, and they don't rust. So it's
No,
quite
they're
handy
slick.
to carry.
They're slick.
I was
Yeah,
afraid to use magnets in case set up a field, that might hurt something in the receiver or whatever, some of the bigger magnets to hold those boxes. But these things work great.
Yeah, and they're cheap. They're not expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I actually bought one today. You're on about one of them lovely things. Yeah, I actually bought them.
Yeah, I bought about a
today.
dozen of them.
Yeah, That one's for a Vanguard that I'm building for somebody. Oh.
So when
Yeah.
are you shipping? When are you shipping, Matthew?
Don't know at the moment. I'm having a major fight with UPS. They've refused to pay for the damages on the Vanguard for Ed. So I'm having a major fight at the moment, and I'm trying to find somebody else to ship my submarines. But at the moment, UPS seems to be the only one. Everybody else is excruciating expensive.
What about DHL?
DHL, you can add an extra £100 on top. This is insane. Oh, and DHL also put a £70 handling charge on top of your shipping price.
God.
Yeah. So I'm trying to make it affordable because I don't want to rip people off. Trying to get it out to the States without costing $300, it's nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was doing it with UPS, all right, the last one I sent was £101. But your Vanguard was £92 in shipping. And then obviously Bob's got to pay for the customs when it gets to his side. Obviously I found if you send something below £500, you don't get stung. So that's why I've separated everything out. Because Bob asked me originally to send WTCs in the submarines. And in the end, I can't fit them in as well as everything else anyway. But they're also going to make the value of the products £800-900, and then you get that shipping cost when it gets to you, and it's just huge. And I'm not the dude to do that. I don't like ripping people off. So it's yeah. I mean, I've got Europe to do. I've got a sub going to Sweden, Switzerland, I think it is, and I've seen the paperwork I've got to fill in for that because of the stupid Brexit, and it makes you look easy. It makes the Americans look easy. Wow. I've only got to put an invoice for you guys, and with them it's invoice and a load of other crap. It's about that much of paperwork. So I can understand why a lot of people in the UK, like especially R&R, have decided not to ship to Europe, which is really sad. And it's purely because of the headache with the shipping. Until they square that away and sort it out, it's going to be really difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm going to work hard on it. But obviously your stuff, I'm just waiting to come out of lockdown so I can go and get Tube, which we come out in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I think we come out. But I've got to get your packing tube and Ed's packing tube, which I should get next week, and then hopefully get it shipped. Got to find out how much it's going to cost first. And I'm also going to wrap it in a hell of a lot of body armor because I don't want it breaking. But
okay, bud.
Yeah, no worries.
Thank you.
It's all right.
Gentlemen, I'm going to leave you. I've got to go take my wife to the store and go get some alcohol, but I'll be back next time. You guys have a great day. Thank you. Thank you guys for all your help. I appreciate it.
No worries.
Matthew, David, see you all. Thank you.
All right.
Matthew, in Germany, DJL also raises the prices of the delivery charges. They are really stupid.
I know.
I was supposed to send one package to America. There was the premium service only fixed on the website. So, and now if I send it to the USA, it is minimum 30 days with a cargo ship, not by airplane.
I know. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I'm actually tempted. As soon as this lockdown clears off, my auntie and uncle are going to France for a week to go and see some friends. I'm really tempted to stick the cooler in there and tell them to ship it from France. Because it's just nuts. I mean, I don't know what to do with it, really. It's and everything that's going on with obviously this dreaded COVID, which is dragging everything down. It's just become really slow. Everything is just slow to do anything at the moment.
Well, the shipping companies, as well as some other crafty entrepreneurs, share the philosophy: where there is chaos, there is profit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so the Royal Mail, I have been waiting for parts for WTCs, parts for submarines for nearly since the 2nd of January. I've been waiting for stuff to turn up.
Yeah.
I'm going to have one day where everything's all going to turn up at once. And finally, I'll be in stock and I'll be able to crack on and do stuff. Luckily for me, MFA around the corner, so I can go and get my motors any day because they're literally just down the road. So at least I can go and get motors. But servos, stuff like that, they all come Royal Mail. Don't know when they're going to get it.
There's
Matthew,
2 shall pass.
I hope so.
I do need a sale of the Type 21 in 1:48 scale in glass fiber. Do you offer this?
Not Type 21.
Type 21, German submarine, 1:48.
Yeah. I don't have any molds for that.
But it was formerly original kit from the UK. The company was called
Darnell.
No, Poseidon, something.
Right.
Poseidon Engineering or something like this.
Was that
right?
Was that Ron Perot?
Poseidon Engineering.
Was that Ron Perot's outfit?
Yeah, that's R&R. That's R&R.
That's R&R?
Ron Perrett.
Ah, okay.
But I know that Mount Fleets in the UK do the Type 21 in 1:48 scale. He may be able to help you. His name's Adam.
He got the Metcalf moldings, maybe.
Metcalf, yeah.
Yeah, Metcalf.
Mountain Fleet, yes.
Yeah, Mount Fleet. Because Mount Fleet bought all the Darnell molds. So he's got all the original Darnells.
Yeah, wait. There is one company called in the past Metcalf moldings.
Metcalf?
Yes. You know that?
Metcalf.
This guy offered the 21, Type 7, Air Class, I forgot.
Yeah, see, Metcalf I haven't seen for years.
But now they do only surface ships, I think. Something like tugboats.
I will speak to Metcalf. I think I've got their contact details somewhere. I can give them a buzz tomorrow. Not tomorrow, Monday now. But otherwise, do you want me to speak to Adam at Mount Fleet and see if he's got a conning tower knocking about?
This would be really nice if you can ask him.
Yeah, sure. I'll ask him. I've got to speak to Adam anyway. Even Tim. Oh, Tim's gone now, is he? But yeah, even Tim knows him quite well, so he might be able to help you out. I think you'll find, because what happened was you had R&R models, R&R model engineering, Ron Perrett. He made the Type 21. And it was a really super detailed Type 21, looked amazing. And then Mount Fleet suddenly brings out a Type 21 and it caused a big rift. And there was a lot of accusing going backwards and forth. So I think Ron Perrett has stopped. I mean, Ron Perrett only does WTCs now. He doesn't do fiberglass hulls. I could speak to Perrett and see if he might know as well, because obviously he used to make the hulls. I mean, I'll do some digging for you on Monday. See what I can find out. I've got you on Facebook, so I'll give you a shout then.
Any technical questions?
Dave, it's Ernie. Do you wouldn't happen to remember if you have a thread, any of your threads, how you put the stern planes on in your threads or not?
Are we talking about the 440 set screws?
Yeah, well, when you told me to put the cut them and put them in the sides.
Oh, the G10 biscuits. Yeah. What about them?
Do you have anything in the threads that I just look at real quick before I do it on the forum?
Being online?
Yeah.
Tell you what, post that up as a question in the forum.
How to attach them?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just ask that question.
Yeah, that way I can share my massive knowledge with the great unwashed.
Thank you, God.
That's Ellie laughing back there. Sometimes she can't take it.
Then
Yeah.
how you calculate the RPM of a motor?
The what? Oh, damn, he just froze up.
For a submarine, the turning speed of a propeller or motor.
I don't. It's
You
gosh
don't?
and by golly an experience. I find typically with a brushless motor, I'm sorry, a brushed motor, if the can diameter equals approximately the diameter of the propeller, I go direct drive. And if the propeller is a bit better, bigger than the can, I go 3-to-1. Other than that, I have no idea. Math eludes me, so I can't get the formula.
Okay. But some people told me, yeah, there is a kind of a calculator. You can put in all information from the original, and then it comes out the model size.
There's a thing called Froude law, which explains the physical difference in size from prototype to model, and it's not a direct correlation. It's a bit involved, but Norbert Bruggen described it once, the formula for conversion from prototype numbers such as RPMs to a model number, and it's not a linear progression. So that's a nice way of saying I don't know how to figure it. I just keep playing around till something works. So that's the best answer I can give you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, Dave, I got a question for you. I'm working on that prototype WTC, and as you know, packaging everything in a tube, you always want to add more than there's room for.
Yeah.
I really wanted to add like a few fuses for the ESCs, separate of the main fuse. That way, if the propeller snags something, I would pop that before losing power to the whole boat. Two things I'm thinking about is polyfuses, because they're you can pop them, and then once they cool, they'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing was maybe using a magnetic coupler for the prop shafts, something that enough of the force would spin the propeller, but if the propeller snagged like a weed or something, it wouldn't cause the amps to jump on the motor.
Well, both solutions, the mechanical and the electrical, will save what I call hotel services. It depends where you put the fuse, as you've pointed out. Yeah, you lost propulsion, but you can still control the boat and blow it to the surface and then go swim. Fine. As far as the physical coupler, a slip clutch, I would call it, be it magnetic or hydraulic, is a good way to unload the motor if something gets fouled. Both are solutions to the same problem, losing propulsion. But as far as a slow fuse, no, I don't think a slow fuse would work. You're talking about a resettable fuse, a thermal fuse.
Yeah.
And the M-Tronics already have that on the board. If it overheats, it shuts down, it cools, it's back in the game.
Yes.
One more thing. This all presupposes you're using a discrete battery eliminator circuit.
Yeah. I'm actually I got away from the hobby BECs, and I'm actually running a voltage reducer from Palu that has a overamp chopping circuit in it. I guess the main thing I'm trying to get redundancy. I just want something to, if the prop snags something, I'm not going to lose hotel services, but it needs to be a discrete, small solution because I'm already running out of room.
Well, you're running out of room, then you just might want to go with a standard when it goes type of fuse.
Okay.
Worst happens is the things on the surface, you have to go swimming.
Yeah. It's when it's surface I'm not worried about.
Yeah. That's the end game. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Nick, what's the diameter of your boat?
It's an arc model. I'm putting a 90 millimeter or 3.5 inch WTC in it, but it's only 17 inches long.
Yeah.
And I got 2 air pumps in it, 2 water pumps in it.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna post some updates maybe today or tomorrow.
I have a little more room than you do, but what I did was this. I used an automotive thing in an S3, and there's a compressor underneath it, 2 compressors, well, a compressor and a pump, and a couple of relays and stuff. But I have, like I said, I have a little more room than you do.
Yeah, those S3 containers are really nice.
Yeah, I've just used.
Yeah, I have about 20 of those.
I mean, but they're the beauty is they're the smaller size, not the bigger size. So you got
that's the ones I have. Let me go into the cave here. I'll try to flip the screen around.
Nick, did you the 3D files of your WTC?
Yes. What's that?
That's the 3D files you did on the forum, yes.
Yeah, so I haven't posted this up yet, but that's the main fuse. I really wanted to run one of the minis, but that was the whole convenient holder I can find. But it's got, I'm sorry, I'm so shaky here. The 2 ESCs are for the brushless motors. I really want to put something in there that will not pop the hotel fuse.
Yeah. Just keep all of your hotel loads off of the main battery bus and nowhere near the fuse.
Okay. Yeah, those those blue 5 millimeter things, those are the main bus bars. And again, I'll post a little bit more detail about them soon on the forums, but those are separated. There's a main battery one, and then there's a switched, and then there's another one that's a 5 volt.
Right. So you're protecting the ESCs, that's all.
Yeah. I don't mind losing those.
Yeah, me neither. As cheap as they are now.
Yeah. Yep. But have you had any experience using a magnetic like slip clutch?
Yes.
It worked pretty well.
Yeah. Remind me, make a post in the forum. I did some work recently on a little Mark 8 SDV, and I magnetically coupled the drive shaft. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
That's right. I remember that now.
Oh, then just look it up and stop bothering me.
Fine.
It's slashing down while you're at it.
I got to rise out of alley.
David.
Sir.
How you charge the batteries in your WTC? I never get it right. Out of the pictures. You have to open the WTC and then to charge?
Oh,
absolutely.
Take the batteries out of the WTC every time. Look, I qualified on submarines, and you don't screw around with battery charge or discharge. You ventilate. And you can't do that effectively if they're sitting in the goddamn cylinder.
They bust up.
You end up with a big bang.
Low scorpion.
Aye. Oops.
Hope that answers Ghetto.
Just mute me for a minute.
Okay, I'm gonna leave. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.
Bye.
I'm probably gonna get running too. I want to get back to work on that Rube Goldberg watertight cylinder.
You coward, come back here.
There's only so much time in the day.
There you go. Go get him.
Oh, mate, I work till 4 a.m. It's great.
Oh, that's you.
Yeah, that's about what time I get up. All right, have a good one, guys.
You too.
See you later. Have a good one.
Well, come on, guys. Liven it up. We're on the hell out of here. I got the kill switch.
That's kind of worrying that you've got the kill switch.
Yeah, totally irresponsible on Bob's part.
Yeah, I mean, really? You're dangerous on a regular basis, so.
That's right. Here's the dead man switch, kid. See you later.
See you later, guys. Have a good one.
Ah.
I think he's failed.
All right, we're going to stare at each other for the next 3 hours. What's the deal?
Well, you can if you want. I mean, I've got a beautiful face. Don't know about you, you know.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Dave.
Fucking Brits.
Matthew.
Yeah.
Why you're wearing a jacket?
Because it's freezing cold in here.
No, come on.
We've had some. I don't know about you in Germany, but we've had some serious bad winds this week. We've had quite a lot of damage. Yeah.
Really windy.
I mean, today it was gusting it was 59. We were gusting. We've had quite a bit of damage to some of the boats around it this last couple of days. It's been absolutely nuts. So yeah, I mean, today we didn't have rain. We just had hailstorms after hail. It was not nice. But this weather's just getting weirder and weirder. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we had 2 foot of snow around us, and now it's been really warm. But then we're getting really cold again. The weather can't make its mind up.
Well, damn, the British Isles, you guys are renowned for crummy weather.
Hang on. There's Ireland as well.
Island nation.
Yeah. But I mean, I live in the southeast. So it should have warm weather.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice. It would be nice if when we start getting a bit further in the year, when the weather starts getting better, I'll be able to do a lot more. Well, I won't get stopped for cold weather from laminating, because obviously when it gets below 5, I can't laminate. But yeah, plenty of WTCs built, which is good.
You don't have heater in your garage or working shop?
I've got a little fan heater at the moment. I've got a diesel heater that I'm waiting to fit in, but I haven't done it yet. I've been too busy. Everyone keeps making me busy at the moment, so which is good. But going back to what everyone was saying earlier about obviously the hobby, it's very unknown. I don't know about you, Dave, but have you noticed that there are more submarine groups now popping up?
Where?
Yeah.
On Facebook. I mean, I've seen at least four or five this year, last year alone, pop up.
Yeah, but look at the content. It's amateur night.
Yeah, it is. But I mean, you got to get people into the hobby. And the last thing,
Tom put his finger on it. Current crop of kids don't know shit about mechanics.
No, they don't. And in 2019, I went to a school and did a whole 2 days of teaching them modeling with a group. There was about a group of 5 of us, and we took them and we had a swimming pool. They built them. We made little tiny model jet skis. My mate, he made them out of plastic. What they call them? Vacuum formed these jet skis, right. And we taught them how to make that. And once they got to play them, we got them to race around the pool, and they were really into that. And quite a lot of them are now joining our club, which is really good.
Yeah, well, that was then. Today, now it's Black History Month. Every month of the school friggin' year. They're not teaching this stuff. They're teaching that stuff.
Yeah,
it's like the little morons out
always
there.
Like this with a cell phone.
There you go.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
when I was really young, there was after school, beside the school was some kind of a judge club for playing football, and there was a group, they built gliders, easy ones.
Yes.
So, and I was go in, and that was the first contact with modeling in my life. And I built this called Uhu from Graupner.
Yeah.
Was the parts were a little bit not ready to run, but and then we go out on the field. That was really nice. And then then afterwards we built a model boat, also easy one with easy things. That was really nice.
That was the gateway drug that Bob was talking about, where the manufacturers would invest time and resources to get the kids hooked on the craft. It's not happening anymore.
Yeah, and then comes the trend with air to air, ready to run, and nobody wants to build anymore. And let me think, that was 2000 something. There was a big submarine meeting in Kaiserslautern. Full of people there, really. Many people come asking, yeah, what is this? What is this? How? But you can't see it underwater. I say, yes, we're driving here in a pool.
Yeah.
Is there a camera system built in? I say, no. At this moment, it was not able, but because the cameras was too big. But this was a good time. And then it comes like this. I don't know why.
I think partly, and this is my view, don't be everyone shout me down about this, but partly a lot of the model submarine, not collapse, but slowing down, is the fact that you can't get, you know, in my view, 40 megahertz and your 75 megahertz transmitter, because they was gone. All right, don't get me wrong, 2.4, we're learning how our ways of working with 2.4. But obviously, in my point of view, hence why I pushed to get new transmitters made, which we are getting in July. Hopefully, when this side of the market picks up again, hopefully we'll start getting more people interested. I mean, the 3D printer point of view, and I know Dave hates 3D printed submarines, but the point is, it is a gateway into the hobby because it's a cheap way of doing it. And I think, I think Bob was right to do those files because a lot of people are interested now in 3D printing. And if anything, the 3D printing is taking over all of the model market now because people can make them themselves. And also other things as well that's happened in the world in the last couple of years has caused more problems. But if we can get that transmitter issue nailed on the head, that's our start from then to expand from that. Because if we haven't got transmitters, no one's going to use their subs. And at the moment, all you can do is buy second-hand ones. But that's my view. No, as I said, I mean, 2.4, I'm not too keen about using 2.4 in submarines. Maybe a bit old-fashioned on that one.
Well, that's you make good points, but those are peripheral to the real problem.
Yeah.
The real problem is the current crop of youngsters don't give a damn for this stuff because it does not afford them immediate gratification.
Yeah.
This is
exactly.
gratification deferred, which might take years to learn, then craft something that will give you enjoyment. There is no tolerance for deferred gratification. And that's what we're up against. And the 2.4, the availability of gear, that's incidental to the big problem. We can have all the finest gear on the planet, but if there's nobody there interested in exploiting it, then we're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
So how do we get around it?
Education. And we're not doing it. When America started mandating public education, things went downhill. Because education was primarily to make sure we could make soldier boys who could operate the guns. And that takes technical expertise. It takes a degree of craftsmanship. You need farmers to maintain the tractors. So American education initially was pretty good because it was technically oriented. Now it's a bunch of social horse shit, which renders nothing to the society other than angst. And to the exclusion of the mechanical arts. So what we have is a bunch of intellectual, me first little shitheads instead of craftsmen. So if we offer all this great gear that you've been talking about, there's not going to be any buyers. They're not interested because it's not woke, or it's not something that my friends on Facebook would appreciate. Well, our audience is changed.
Yeah. Well,
in Germany, I asked some young men and women, yeah, I want to become a designer. I will become an architect. I want to sit in my office and make much money.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm an electrician. I have every day to do with my hands, with my machine to drill, cutting, and it is really
Today, when you talk to a machinist, CNC, what do you do? Well, I change the bits and I sweep the floor. Have you ever run a milling machine? Can you set up a milling machine? What's a milling machine? This thing is a 5-axis cutter. All I got to do is change the bits.
I know.
Okay.
When I went to college, I did MBQ level 1, level 2 engineering, and that's all we used was old-fashioned lathes, old-fashioned machines. It was brilliant. You had the big lathes, the small one. I loved every minute of it. And I'll tell you what, I did crap at school. I did absolute shocking. But when I got to college and I started doing the engineering, started getting my hands dirty, started getting into that and smelling that metal grinding away, that was it. I was hooked. But for the model boat side of it, for me, it was my Uncle Bill. And my Uncle Bill built me a model boat at 11. And next minute I know, and it was brilliant because all you had to do was tie a bit of string to it. You set the rudder by a little, by a tiller with a clicker, and then you had a bit of string and you set this thing off, and it used to go around the lake. You just had a bit of string, so when the battery died, you pulled it in. That's how I started. But you don't get that anymore. I mean, I'm sure it's worldwide. Clubs getting youngsters in. We do have, I think we've got in our club, we've got five under 16s. And what's really good about those under 16s, they brought their parents in. It's actually their dads now who are more interested. But, you know, it's a dynamic. And one thing I'd say that has happened with COVID, because people are stuck indoors, those dads are now spending more time with their sons or daughters who are actually making crafts. And I'm hearing, and this is because I've got friends who are teachers, and obviously my Navy friends who are teachers as well. They're saying their kids are getting more into the ethics side of things. Now, a lot of us all develop from those plastic kits, and then they move on to something else. So hearing that some of the youngsters, or quite a few of the youngsters, are getting involved in ethics is a good thing for us in the end. But it's getting that transition. We're in this dip at the moment, and we need to bring it up. And the only way I can think of doing that is getting people like myself going into schools and doing the talking thing again. I mean, that was working really well. But I mean, it's getting out there and giving them.
We've also tried getting ourselves injected into the school system, but there's no room for us. There's no shop class. There's no friendly territory within the halls of a public school for what we do.
Right.
They don't have shop class anymore.
Yeah.
Hell, they don't even have gym. Now, listen, I'm just blathering on. We got any more submarine shit, or is this thing over? This thing's over.
Everyone likes. Yeah, I think it's over, isn't it?
Y'all get out of my house. Out now. Be useful.
See you in 2 weeks, eh? We're going to talk about more bothering crap, shall we? Next in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I like about these little post-party parties is poor Bob is going to have to try to cut all the crap out and make it socially acceptable when he puts it up on the net.
You know full well he cuts it at the point that he goes, so they don't have to listen to our drivel.
Yeah, I know. So this is for you, Bob.
You know,
All
full
right,
well he's going to
that's
piss
it. I'm
himself
gonna
laughing
pull
over
the
there.
plug. Anybody got anything? All right, that's it.
Go on, go.
I want to kill this thing. Bah!